Oh, Detective Chimp is on a book with Wonder Woman. Oh, comics. Oh, hi there. It's me, Aaron. I'm just about to enjoy my traditional weekly post-comic class toast. You see, every single week after I get done working on another episode of Comic Class, I like to treat myself with a little drink. It's a little tradition that I always look forward to, and I gotta say, this week's episode of Comic Class was a little touch and go there for a second, because I didn't know what I wanted this week's episode to be on. Should I talk about Justice League Dark, because I didn't cover that last month and issue number 2 just came out? Or should I talk about the brand new West Coast Avengers book? Well, I decided to ask you guys on Twitter to vote on a poll for it, and about 2 hours after I put the poll up, the results were pretty much decided. Justice League Dark was in the lead by 14 points, 57 to 43%. There is no way that was going to change around, so I felt pretty confident about going ahead and recording that episode, and now that the poll has officially ended at the time of this recording, I feel pretty confident in going in there and looking at what the final results were. So before I treat myself to this regular drink, let's just go ahead and have one last look at... I hate everything. I'm still having this drink. Went down the wrong pipe. Hey everyone, it's me, Aaron, and welcome to another episode of Comic Class. Another episode of Comic Class. I'm going to be doing these until I die. Anywho, as I said yesterday, I asked you guys in a poll, what did you want me to talk about in this week's episode of Comic Class, Justice League Dark, or West Coast Avengers? And 2 hours after that poll went up, when I needed to start recording that episode, Justice League Dark was so far in the lead that, yeah, it was pretty much decided. There was no way that West Coast Avengers was going to come back and win that thing. West Coast Avengers came back and won that thing. So here we are with a second weekly episode of Comic Class. And honestly, I'm actually pretty happy about this. Because the fact that West Coast Avengers was so far behind and then just massively pulled around and came into the lead tells me that a lot of people out there who kept thinking, yeah, it's West Coast Avengers, I don't care about this, who cares about that series? They decided to check that book out just to go, alright, let's see what it's about. And then they really enjoyed it and they wanted to see someone talk about it. And you know something? I'm okay with that because I really enjoyed this book and I really want to talk about it. Now, I was actually looking forward to this book for a couple of reasons. The first of which being that it's written by Kelly Thompson. And Kelly Thompson has only been at Marvel for about 3, maybe 4 years. But she is a rising star at that company because she has impressed me with almost everything that she has done over there. The first thing that I remember her doing was she did a very small arc over on A-Force. Like after G. Willow Wilson left the book, they brought her on there, and then she left right before the Civil War II tie-in happened. That one storyline that she did on that book was the best storyline in that entire series. It was the storyline that I looked at and went, oh! This book is really turning around. This book is becoming something special right now. And then she left the series, and the series was quickly canceled right afterwards. But after that, she went on to the Kate Bishop Hawkeye series. I really dug the Kate Bishop Hawkeye series. That is a book that was not only on my top 100 comics of the year list, it was on a lot of people, not just top 100, but top 10 comics of the year list. And for good reason. That book really was something special, and in many ways it's kind of the lead-in to her West Coast Avengers book, because Kate Bishop is the leader of the team. Kate Bishop was living on the West Coast in that series. A lot of her supporting cast from that series are popping up in this book. However, you do not need to have read that book to understand this book. I need to make that clear right here. I know many people who did not read the Kate Bishop Hawkeye series, who did decide to read this first issue, and they were not confused at all. There's like one panel in here where a couple of her supporting cast members from the previous series pop up, and she's like, guys, I don't have time for this right now. That is it. That is the only thing that you would possibly need to know from the previous series, and it's one panel in this, and it doesn't affect the story. You're fine. However, the Kate Bishop Hawkeye series was really darn good, and you should go ahead and check it out anyways. If you like fun, quirky detective-style series featuring archers, which is a very small niche audience out there, but if you're in that audience, this was absolutely the book for you. And the second reason why I was looking forward to this book was because of the artist, Stefano Casilli. This guy has been one of the most underrated artists working over at Marvel for the longest time. I first noticed him when he was doing the old Jonathan Hickman Secret Warriors series, and I thought he was fantastic on that book. And then he started doing a bunch of other little like filler arcs or filler issues on various series here and there. But then he finally got over on the Avengers World series, and he knew how to capture every character in that book. He knew how to just portray amazing, mind-blowing action on that series. So I was really happy to see him on this book, but I have to say I was a little bit curious about how he would handle it, because he does like big crazy action stuff, and that's great for a book involving superheroes on a team going out there to save the day. But this was also kind of a quirky, wacky hijinks style team. I was like, okay, how's his art style going to apply to this sense of humor? And I'm delighted to say that it actually works out quite well. In fact, I kept looking at it going, it looks like there's something slightly different about the art in here. Like, it's gotta be the inker. The inker has to be doing like something different, because it doesn't feel quite like the regular Stefano Casilli art. It feels lighter and softer. Like, it almost feels like how the Kate Bishop Hawkeye series had this nice, slightly simplified and lighter and softer tone to it. It felt like the inker on this book might be the same inker who was on that book, just applying that same like slight touch to it. I think Stefano Casilli is the inker on this book, because I have looked everywhere to find the name of the inker on this book. It's not listed at all. They just list Stefano Casilli as the artist. I think that he's the inker on this as well, and if that's the case, that means that he actually inked this book differently to try and match more of the tone of the Kate Bishop Hawkeye series. That is genius, and it just proves to me that artists are magicians. But the third and biggest reason why I was looking forward to this book was because of the team. You got Kate Bishop in there, you got America Chavez in there, you've got Gwenpool in there, you've got classic Clint Barton Hawkeye in there, you've got Fuse, Kate Bishop's new boyfriend who got introduced in her previous series, and you've also got Quentin Quire in there. This is an insane cast. This cast is crazy. It almost feels like they just went, who are the most dysfunctional characters in the Marvel Universe? Let's put them all on a team. And that's wonderful. I know a lot of people out there looked at this team and just went, oh, that team isn't anything special. Oh, everybody on that team is so weak. First off, you've got an Omega level mutant on the team. You've got America Chavez, who is Planet Buster levels of powerful, and she can actually jump through space and time. And you've also got Gwenpool, who, because she has the ability to alter the book she's in, she can actually erase people from existence. You've got some big heavy hitters on this book, but even if you did have them, I know a lot of people were looking at this book and just going, oh, that team is nothing special. Oh yeah, they're so weak in that team. I don't care about power levels. I don't at all. I'm like a broken scouter, okay? Power levels mean nothing to me, alright? You know why? Because none of this is real. It's a comic, everybody. It's there to be entertaining. And what has entertained me isn't who can punch the larger thing. To me, what is entertaining is team interactions. It's character dynamics. And after having read this first issue, I can go ahead and say, this book is already the book to beat for best character dynamics of 2018. The interactions between these characters are golden, and I will just go ahead and start my praises with this. How amazing is it that in 2018, where most series out there, when they establish a team, like to take about 5 or 6 issues to finally get the team all together, this book at the end of issue number 1 has a team this insane, and they're all there. And they're all going out on the very first mission. And everything about their interactions and their backstories and everything that you need to know about them is already established. This book did an incredible job of just going, do you not know any of this stuff? Here, enjoy. You'll figure it out from what we give you. Now, I know a lot of people who did not know everyone in this book, had not read their previous series. They were able to figure this stuff out. Basically what happens is that someone is attacking the West Coast, and Kate Bishop, who is one of the only superheroes out there, she knows, yeah, man, I'm one of the only superheroes out here. And I just have a bow and arrow. All the other heroes are just hanging out in New York. I need to get a team together. I need to get someone together to help protect the West Coast. So she puts out there little flyers on the beach to try and just get whoever she can find, because that's the style of humor that a Kate Bishop book is going to have. So yeah, automatically Kelly Thompson still proves to me she knows how to write this character. And there's just a great montage in there of just all the reject D-list characters just come by, all of who are new. Kelly Thompson isn't dragging any pre-established characters' names through the mud on this one. She just creates a bunch of really awful characters to come in here. And only one of them looks actually decently powerful. The rest of them just look like crazy people on the street. The only one who actually looked like decently powerful was the Silver Snowboarder, who is basically just a female Silver Surfer. But Kate Bishop says to her, so your powers only work in the snow? That's correct. Do you think LA is maybe not the place for you? Oh, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I actually just really love little exchanges like that, and it's just like an entire like 2-page spread of just nothing but interactions like that. It reminded me of when Brian Michael Bendis used to do this stuff all the time. Brian Michael Bendis used to love to just do big 2-page panel spreads of just every single panel being a different character having a different interaction. Except he would always use pre-established characters just to poke fun at them. And I would always be like, dude, come on, man. That's kind of... Someone actually likes that character. That's kind of mean. Kelly Thompson was able to do this without being mean to any pre-established characters. That's one of the reasons I like her so much. But Gwenpool, who actually did have a team up with Kate Bishop in her previous series, did come on by and just go, hey, I just was stopping by to see if you wanted to go and pick up food or something. And she was like, oh my god, finally another superhero. Yes, come on, join the team. I don't know what's happening here, but okay, sure, I'll hang out here, I guess. So she's got Gwenpool, she's got America Chavez, who was a friend of hers from the old Young Avengers series, and she's got Clint Barton, who I absolutely love the way that Kelly Thompson is writing Clint Barton in this book. Because for years now, Clint Barton has just been a joke. Clint Barton, okay. It's time to go ahead and talk about this. I can't talk about why I like Clint Barton in this book so much without bringing up the Matt Fraction Hawkeye series. And I always hate bringing that up because I don't like sharing really unpopular opinions on this channel. But here goes. I didn't really care that much for the Matt Fraction Hawkeye series. I loved it in the beginning. But after like the first 2 storylines, I felt like it just changed dramatically and the characters just became cartoons. Because when that series began, Clint Barton, he was competent. He was an Avenger. He was a superhero. But he was also kind of an average Joe who life was just beating down. He was that guy who life was just constantly just taking a dump on. I was like, oh, okay, I like this. I like seeing how, oh, yeah, he doesn't have any superpowers. So he is just constantly getting his ass kicked, but he's still tough. He still gets in there. He still goes on these crazy adventures. He still does the best that he can. He's still smart. He knows how to be a superhero. Yeah, I actually like this dynamic to this character. But then it feels almost like, because the internet liked all of his down and out moments, they liked the moments in which life was just being shitty to him, that Matt Fraction kind of just said, oh, okay, that's what you like? I'm gonna do that even more. And he just kept getting dumber and dumber and just kept becoming less and less competent until it got to a point in which I was like, okay, it's not that I can't look at you and tell why you're a superhero, it's that I can't look at you and tell why you're able to dress yourself in the morning. And then he literally had a joke where Clint couldn't dress himself in the morning. And that was the moment that series kind of lost me. There was a moment in which he couldn't figure out how to keep his pants up because he couldn't tie a knot. And I was literally just looking at him like, you're a carny. You grew up as a carny. That's how you were raised. Literally the first thing they teach you when you become a carny is how to tie a knot so you can keep the tent down. And so you can cover up all of your sheds at night. Yeah, it kind of drove me nuts. The Clint Barton in this West Coast Avengers book, it's exactly what I want Clint Barton to be. Because it's Clint Barton still being competent. He still knows how to be a superhero. You see him going in there and doing crazy action stuff. But he has got a very laid back, like, it'll be fine kind of attitude. It's like, that's Clint. Clint is the guy, he's been around, he's seen everything. But after the big climactic battle, he's like, so, anybody want pizza? Who's up for pizza? I'm going for pizza. Anybody want one? Just a very average guy. We're all just going to the bar after this to just hang out kind of attitude. And they actually kind of add a new role for Clint on this team. He's actually showing off a new side to himself in here, but it's one that absolutely works for this character. And they never stop and actually point this out. It was very subtle the way that they put it in here, but I was totally able to pick up on. I love that Clint is just the old guy on the team. Because yes, Clint isn't just older than everyone else on this team. He's older than everyone else on this team by about a decade and a half. He is way older than everyone else on this team. And I love that he's in there kind of being the responsible one, kind of being like, yeah, no, Kate, I've seen everything. It's totally fine. Listen, yeah, trust me, Kate, you just gotta chill out. It's just gonna be all right. But then at the same time, there are these little moments where you can tell he's just as messed up as everyone else on this team, and he kind of actually just wants to hang out with the young cool kids, because there are moments in which Kate is like, all right, well, we've only got 4 people on the team. Don't you mean 5? I thought you said that you were only here temporarily, that you weren't sticking around. Oh yeah, right, I'm totally not sticking around. Yeah, it's your kids' team. I'm not part of this thing. But you can tell that he kind of does just want to be a part of the cool young kids team. I love that. I absolutely love that they give him that dynamic. And there's like another moment in here in which Kate is freaking out to her boyfriend about how this team is just stupid. This team doesn't work at all. This team doesn't make any sense. We've got crazy ass Quentin Quire and Gwenpool constantly fighting and trying to kill each other. I have no idea how to get them all to work together. And she also went, and Clint just seems to be hanging out for no apparent reason at all. I love that she stopped to point that out, because I thought about it and I was like, that is one of the things that I love about Clint Barton. Clint Barton is that guy who he will show up, he will save the day, he will be the big badass superhero, and then he will crash on your couch for an indefinite amount of time without giving you any idea of when he is just going to get up and move out of there. That's exactly what Clint Barton is like. Big time superhero action, very average Joe level of attitude. They nailed that in here. And yeah, I just kept looking at it like, this is totally going to be a thing. This is totally going to be a thing where he's like, nah, I'm not part of your little kids team. I kind of really want to be part of your kids team. I kind of want to just be in it. I kind of want to just do this. It just looks like fun. No, I'm going to go back, do the big time Avengers thing over here. Don't put me on the big time Avengers book. You guys are way more fun. I like the West Coast. We don't have In-N-Out Burger in Manhattan. I really want to see that just become his like regular dynamic. But as I said, you got Clint Barton on the team. You've also got America Chavez. America Chavez, so far, she's just there to be Kate Bishop's friend. And you know what? That's totally fine. They absolutely nail this idea that, hey man, I know you're in trouble. Fine, I'll be on your stupid West Coast Avengers team. I'll just hang out for a little while and just do this. She doesn't get as much time in the spotlight as the other characters on this book, but I'm totally okay with that, simply because, yeah, it's a team being led by Kate Bishop. You don't need an explanation for why America Chavez would be on the team. They establish that they're friends, you see some good interactions between them in this book, bam, they nail that, so that's totally fine. But then you've also got Kate's boyfriend, Fuse, and Fuse is a fairly new character. And by fairly new character, I mean he's been doing this for a couple of weeks, but he basically has absorbing man powers. And one thing that you'll notice about him is that he's got giant piercings on his face. And there's a moment in which he first appears and he's turning to metal, and I was like, what's the metal thing that he's grabbing to turn into metal? And then all of a sudden it hit me, he's turning into metal because the piercings are touching his face. That's actually really smart. A guy who has the ability to turn into whatever kind of structure that he's touching, like if he touches stone, he turns to stone. If he touches metal, he turns to metal. He has metal in his face, so he never has to look for this. He can just use it. That's really darn smart. But again, as I said, the great thing about this book is the dynamics of the team. It's the role that everyone fits on the team. Not in terms of superpowers, but just in terms of personality, and he is the new guy on the team. And he is the guy who is way in over his head. He's doing this to be the good, supportful boyfriend, but you can tell he just constantly has this look on his face of, I don't know what I'm doing here. This stuff could kill me at any moment. I don't know what's happening in this team. Is this really what superheroes do? Oh crap, okay, I guess this is going to be fine. This will be alright. Sure, great, fire all around him. This is fine, sure, wonderful. He just constantly has that look of, oh god, this is going to go so poorly. This book opens up with Clint Barton being interviewed for this reality TV show, which I'll get to in just a second. And he's walking around in the background, just eating something, and then he looks over and is like, oh god, I'm on camera, sorry, just this very awkward, like, I gotta get out of here as quietly as I can with no one noticing me. That is his entire character summed up in one page. And he didn't even have to say a single line of dialogue. That is a great thing about how this book is being written and how it's being illustrated. They're able to let you know just from one page, this is who this character is. They nailed it. And yeah, you gotta get that character on the book who is relatable. And this guy is insanely relatable because he is in way over his head and we've all been there before. And again, I'm going to say this a lot, I absolutely love the character interactions in this book. That is the star attraction of this series. And Fuse actually has a great moment with Kate Bishop, and he needed a great moment with Kate Bishop because, as I said, a lot of the people who are going to be reading this book didn't read the previous Kate Bishop Hawkeye series, so you need to come in here and establish what is the relationship between Kate Bishop and Fuse. Not just that they're boyfriend-girlfriend. No, I don't just mean that. I mean, how are they boyfriend-girlfriend? How do they interact with each other? How much do they care about each other? They do that in one page. Just in one page, they have the perfect example of that because there is a moment where Kate Bishop is freaking out about how stupid this team is, about how everyone is just fighting amongst themselves and everything is a giant failure, and now there's a reality TV show in here recording all of it so the entire world gets to see what a massive screw-up everything is, and she is flipping her lid over this. And Fuse just comes in there and just goes, listen, it's all going to be okay. Listen, these people are here because they care about you, because they want to work with you. Trust me, everything is going to be absolutely all right. He says it way better than what I just said right there. But yeah, in one page, they absolutely establish he is very supportful, he's very trustworthy, he's a very nice guy, and he is just there to help his girlfriend. And you can tell how much that means to her. You can tell how much Fuse means to Kate Bishop and how much Kate Bishop means to Fuse. Yeah, they're able to establish that in one freaking page. Anytime that you can establish the entire relationship between two characters that quickly and just have it feel that naturally, awesome. That's great. And there are so many other moments in here in which they are able to do that with the other characters in this book because, as I said, nobody trusts Kate Bishop to run this team. The reality TV show is constantly just coming in here and saying, yeah, isn't she kind of bad at her job? Hey, Kate Bishop has almost died several times trying to save the world. Doesn't that just mean that she's not good at it? I mean, if she was good at it, wouldn't she have not almost died? They're constantly just bringing stuff like that up. But you see America Chavez, when she gets questioned like that, she goes, I will kick all your asses into space. Bam, you know Miss America Chavez's relationship with Kate Bishop. She's her friend, and Miss America Chavez don't take no crap for anyone. If you badmouth her friend, she will beat the crap out of you. And this thing opens up with Clint Barton coming in here and just, again, he almost beats the crap out of the reality TV show because they're coming in here and going, yeah, Kate Bishop, she's not that important, right? Like, dude, shut the hell up. Listen, I shared the name with her because I trust her, because she has earned this, all right? And you know something? That's what friends do. They establish they're not just friends, they're friends who would live and die for each other. They are friends who have been in the battlefield with each other, they trust each other, and they're able to establish that with one simple exchange from Clint Barton. Bam, done, right at the beginning. And again, I just have to come in here and say, this is the Clint Barton that I love. I kept thinking about it, I was like, man, Clint Barton over the past couple of years has been written as such a screw up. At the beginning of this thing, as I said, it starts with Clint Barton having someone question him, yeah, you know, so Kate Bishop, she isn't all that great. And I was just thinking, it's like, man, anybody else would have written this as Clint trying to defend Kate, but then he says something stupid, and then he's just like, wait, no, hold on, let me take that back. Oh man, I'm sorry. And then he says something even dumber. And then he tries to take that back, and then he would say something even dumber. No, they established early on, no, Clint is not some big dum-dum. Clint knows what he is doing, and he also really trusts his friends, and if you badmouth his friends, he will try to kick your ass, because Clint Barton does not put up with you badmouthing his friends. Again, another thing that I kind of hated about the Matt Fraction Hawkeye series is that he was just kind of really incompetent to all of his friends, and I was always like, no, Clint is the guy who is there for his friends. That's what he does. And this book establishes, yeah, that is what he does. He is there for his friends early on. Very first page. Bam. Done. But the last member of this team who I haven't talked about is Quentin Quire. And Quentin Quire was the total X factor on this one to me. I kept looking at the cast of this book going, okay, well, it's Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop's friend, America Chavez. Kate Bishop's mentor, Clint Barton. Kate Bishop's one-time team-up partner, Gwenpool. Okay, I can see how all this works. How does Quentin Quire fit into all this? As I said, Kate Bishop tries to hold auditions for her new superhero team. Nobody good comes by. And then Quentin Quire pops up with a camera crew and goes, listen, you all suck. Every single one of you is terrible. I'm the greatest. I'm what this team needs. So I'm going to come in here and I can also provide you with financial backing in the form of this reality TV crew. And I kept looking at it, I was like, why does Quentin Quire have a reality TV crew? But there comes a moment later on in this book in which they are talking to the reality TV crew and they go, yeah, he told us that he had a team, but for the past week we've just been filming him playing video games and eating cereal in his apartment, and we were going to basically try and walk out, but then he found us you guys. And I was like, oh, that's why Quentin Quire's here, because he's a scumbag. Quentin Quire is a scumbag. It fits his character perfectly. I could totally see Quentin Quire convincing a TV crew to give him money just to film him sitting around in his pajama pants playing video games all day, and then when they finally caught on, we're like, this is stupid, we're not going to do this. It's like, oh god damn it, what if I have a team? I have a team? Will you continue to pay me if I have a team? Hey, a flyer for a team. I totally buy this happened. I totally absolutely buy that's the reason Quentin Quire is on this team. Because he's an absolute scumbag. And I gotta say, I actually love this idea of the West Coast Avengers against their will being turned into a reality TV show. They all now have to live in one building, they have to go into confessions and talk about the other teammates, they have to have camera crews recording every single thing that they do, and this team cannot get along at all. Quentin Quire and Gwynpool are constantly trying to kill each other in the background whenever someone's giving a confessional. Kate Bishop will be up there saying, no, it's all perfect. Listen, this team runs amazingly. We just have to prove it to the world. And while she's doing that, Quentin Quire and Gwynpool are shooting at each other in the background. It's like, yeah, I absolutely love this. I want to see more of this. I would watch this show. I would 100% watch this show. It kind of reminded me of when the New Warriors did that short miniseries where they got turned into a reality TV show. Except I always looked at that and I was just like, I don't buy the New Warriors turning into a reality TV show. I totally buy these characters turning into a reality TV show. I buy it 100%. And one of the reasons why I buy that is because it's the West Coast Avengers. The West Coast Avengers are supposed to capture the feeling of LA. They're supposed to capture the feeling of Hollywood. That's the entire point of them. And Hollywood is no longer big glitz and glamour. LA is no longer all them movie stars like you see on the TV screens. It's reality TV stars. It's YouTube stars. It's Twitch streamers. That's the mass majority of the people who have flocked to LA over the past decade. Yeah, this team captures that. They're on a reality TV show. They're all basically the perfect age for YouTubers and Twitch streamers. The idea that they now have to capture their superhero actions to be recorded and used for the public to see. Yeah, if there were superheroes in the real world, in the age of anybody can be a YouTube star, anybody can be a Twitch streamer, you know that they would all be wearing GoPros on their head and be recording this stuff. This absolutely captures the feeling of modern day West Coast. This is exactly what this book should be, honestly. I know some people out there are upset because, oh, you didn't bring back the classic members. The classic members would not be able to make it in LA today. LA has changed. It's different. So yeah, you kind of have to change the West Coast Avengers around. And also, I know some people are saying, well, this book seems like a joke, and that's not what the West Coast Avengers are supposed to be. The West Coast Avengers were always the B-string Avengers. They were, and this is coming from a guy who grew up loving the West Coast Avengers. I am a dyed-in-the-wool Clint Barton Hawkeye fan. I've followed the West Coast Avengers. Yeah, man, they were never meant to be the A-team. They were always meant to be the side-string characters. But again, as I said, LA has changed. It is no longer the big movie stars, so you don't have guys like Wonder Man in there anymore. It's Twitch streamers. They're the ones out in LA today. Yeah, man, that's what I think of when I look at this team. They nailed it. So this first issue is all about getting the team together, but then at the end of the issue, they all actually go on a mission. And again, I just have to bring this up. This is a book where there was no team at the beginning of the issue, and by the end of the issue, the team is all brought together, we've seen the interactions between the characters, and they go on a mission. This book costs $5, and you know me, I come in here fairly often and point at Marvel charging the extra buck for their books and going, yeah, guys, come on, it's not I know you're just doing that to make extra money. Yeah, it's okay. But, I gotta say, this book is actually worth $5. Because so many other team books out there will take 2, 3, 4, 5 issues to establish their team. One issue, team established, you see the dynamics, you see how the team works, you see them going on a mission. And it doesn't feel rushed. That's the incredible thing. None of this felt rushed at all. It had a very natural flow to it. This is how you establish a team book. The pacing on this issue is amazing. It is absolutely worth $5. I am honestly genuinely stunned at how well this book was able to build everything up and execute it. And at the end of this issue, they set up the big cliffhanger for the next issue. And I'm not going to come in here and spoil it. I'm not going to come in here and say what happens, but it's insane. It is madness what happens at the end of this issue. There was a guest star from the previous West Coast Avengers team, but in a very bizarre situation. And I looked at it and went, wow, it's almost like something out of a cheesy sci-fi 1950s movie. Which, hey man, it's Hollywood. As I said, Hollywood has changed, but this felt like a shout out to old Hollywood. It felt like a callback to, yeah, this was the classic golden age of Hollywood. That stuff still does exist over here in LA. Even if LA has completely changed and people living here have completely changed, that stuff is still in the air. You can't get away from it. Yeah, I actually thought that's exactly what they were going for, and again, like everything else in this book, I think that they nailed it. So then they introduce another character at the end of this, a brand new character created for this, and it's just a total joke character, and I loved it. The joke character in here made me go, what? What on earth is this character? What are they going to do? And I didn't say that in a negative way. I didn't say that like, oh my god, what is even the deal with this? I said like, no, what is the deal with this? I want to know what happens in the next issue to this really dumb character. It's hilarious, just the mere premise of this character. So that, in the vaguest way I could possibly describe it, is how the book ends, and it has me very excited for the next issue. Not just because of the big cliffhanger ending, but also because this book was just fun. It was flat out fun. And man, that at its heart is just what I want comics to be. I just want to read some fun books with great characters who have really memorable interactions with each other, and the fact that this book gave me all that, with some of the best pacing I've seen from a team book all year long, this makes it, I'm not kidding you, it at the moment is the Marvel book that I am looking forward to reading each month the most. Because I'll be totally honest with you guys, ever since I switched over to reading books digitally, A, it's been saving me a ton of space, but B, it's also saving me a lot of money because now I just trade wait. Whenever a new Marvel book comes out, I will buy the first issue so that way I can talk about it here on this show. And then after that, I don't buy anything else because I just wait for the trades, because when it comes to digital comics, the trades aren't just cheaper than the single issues, they're incredibly cheaper than the single issues. Because single issues cost pretty much exactly the same whether they're digital or physical. Trades are so much cheaper digitally than they are physically. So yeah, I just basically trade weight on everything now. I'm not trade weighting this book. I'm going to read this book every single month when it comes out, and it honestly is one of the only like 4 comics out there right now that I'm actually doing that with. It's that darn good. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on West Coast Avengers #1. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I actually already know a lot of your thoughts because you told them to me on Twitter after you voted in that poll after I had already recorded that Justice League Dark episode yesterday. That's a shame. But even though I did have to do a second episode of Comic Class, even though it was more work for me, I'm actually kind of glad that I did have to do this because this book really was just that good and I really did want to spotlight it. It was one of those issues that after I read it, I was just like, I need to go out there and find someone else who has read this so I can talk to them about that. Except it's 4 a.m. in the morning right now, and no one in their right mind is awake at this time. Except for me, because I'm up all night editing. Anywho, if you guys want to follow me around the internet and vote on any future polls I might have for this show, you can reach me at twitter.com/ProfessorThorgy, or you can follow me on the weekends over at Twitch, where we do live streams at twitch.tv/ProfessorThorgy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Come back next time. Bye.